Again, thanks a lot, Ivana, for joining today the podcast a Saturday afternoon after a very intense week. And very happy to have you here today, especially because this is also the result of networking and these magic online coffee calls. So thanks a lot.
And likewise, Daily, a pleasure being part of your She Has a Voice podcast and actually start the third season. Congratulations to you. And as I said previously during our chat, you're doing an amazing job. I'm absolutely pleased and honored to be part of your podcast. The
Thank
pleasure
you.
is mine.
I wanted to start first question with very good news because you recently got this super prize, or you were named as Global Voice of a New Era of Leaders. Very long title. What does it mean to you personally and also professionally?
Yes, I was overwhelmed when 4 or 5 months ago, one of the co-owners of the Female Factor reached out to me on LinkedIn and nominated me as one of the global voices of a new era of leaders. And absolutely, I couldn't wait for this Global Leaders Summit to happen in Vienna, which was last week. First of all, I was amazed by the organization, very high level. Around 800 female leaders from around the world joined from actually around 80 countries. So to be amongst one of these it was a huge honor. Absolutely, all the I would say achievements that I had and successes within my 17-year professional career, I believe, resulted with this nomination and later on not only nomination but as well as becoming one of those to be recognized as one of those global leaders of a new era. So again, I'm super glad that more and more such an initiatives for bringing up women in the world are happening. You know that I'm part of Women in Tech for quite a long time and Women in AI in Netherlands. Also empower Women in Tech Alliance Global. So I started as a mentor, but also being a global ambassador. Not only this, but whenever I can, I'm absolutely happy to help and take part of such a female and women organizations and alliances worldwide. So this is an absolute achievement, not only for myself, but for all those women and females that were recognized as such, and also to the organizers, to the initiatives all of these females are taking forward, because it's important. It's important to speak up. It's important to give hand to one another, to support each other, to empower each other, actually to lift each other up, because we are not a sole person in this, not only tech industry, all over industries, sectors in the professional world. Doesn't matter, I'm always saying, doesn't matter the industry or sector you're coming from or you're part of. Absolutely, we need to support each other and help each other.
Because you were actually not in the world of tech or AI. How was your beginning at Macedonia and how did you end up in the Netherlands, now working in tech?
First of all, yes, I was enrolled within the Faculty of Economics in Macedonia, business department. So I studied in English. Back then, it was 2003. Many people were lacking computer skills. Not all of the education system, or it was very rare to have computers or laptops within the faculties. So I was within the first generation of e-business department, which was a breakthrough for our environment that time, to learn to study in English and also to have a computer in front of you. First, to get back how I enrolled to the Faculty of Economics, because I was always somehow the best kid in primary school. I was a president, the best student in generation in high school, but I was never a nerd or a geek to sit home and just study. No, actually, my parents were always saying, how can you be always with all fives at school? We cannot see you at home, like learning,
Studying, right?
reading a book, studying. I was doing that, but I was somehow very intuitive and being a good kid during the lectures. It was difficult for me to decide on which faculty to continue because I was good at math, I was good at other social courses, also medicine. My parents were favoring for medicine, so I really didn't know. But what I knew that I always wanted to have an international career. So
Why?
I always had that in my head, like projection, a vision, and I was telling to my parents, you know what? I'm not sure in which exactly sector or industry I will be working at, but what I know is that I will have a laptop with me and I will travel the world business wise. And that's what happened.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I got chills even today when I talk about it, when I recall. But absolutely, this was from the very young age, literally my sentences that I was from time to time to my parents. And but then when I heard about the business department as part of the Faculty of Economics being a breakthrough, like a new department in a combination of all of these computer sciences and English, I said, this is the best fit for me. Why? Because doesn't matter where I will continue later on, I will have a proficiency of English and I will know how to be right hands-on computers and all the systems that are actually part of those studies back then. And yes, I was listening my intuition even then. Not listening, okay, my parents were always saying, they were always supportive to myself and my sister, but again, they always said the final decision is yours. We will support you whatever you decide, we can guide you, but we cannot make a decision for you. This is your life. You need to have your own path and to be satisfied with your own decisions. So sometimes when you're a kid, when you don't have self-confidence, right? When you don't know what uh, life brings, right? It's difficult for you, like it's like a mountain heavy decision
Too many
to make.
options.
Yes, too many options. But I'm super glad that I made the decision. One of the teachers, the professors actually came and said, okay, I'm going to talk with you, the 10 best students in my class. Why? Because I have a job offer for you. You're finishing now, on time, everything. And there is an opportunity for Macedonian government for indirect investments department. So if you like, just prepare your CVs high level and you need to apply. And then there will be a round of interviews and the best will win, of course. And I was the first one saying, oh, sorry, professor, that's not for me. I don't have anyone in my family, a background with any of the a political background or being part of any political party, because that's a number one in Macedonia or generally on Balkans when you would like to work for or to be part of professionally of any public sector institution or government. And she said, no, Ivana, you know what? Actually, this is the Minister for Foreign Direct Investment is a business oriented person. He's coming from Microsoft, from California, and he's not a politician, absolutely, and he wants the best, ambitious students that knows business English quite well, both spoken and written, so conversational, I would say, and the rest is really not important. No any political background need or something like that. Okay, I said, okay, this sounds great. And what I did, yeah, all of us 10, I believe, applied, and only two of us passed all the interviews, and that's how I started my career. And it's still being part of to work for a government, especially for a governmental institution or other public sector institutions is different, but government, it's like very, very powerful. It was, we were very business oriented. So my journey, international, I would say, career started back then within my first work experience. I was part of the Ministry for Foreign Direct Investment, and that means part of the economic team for foreign direct investment that was led by the Prime Minister itself. And we had roadshows, so-called roadshows, around the world, from Asia, so China, India, all over Europe, United States, Canada. That's how I started learning from the C-level people, actually the decision makers, because from at these roadshows we were meeting C-level people that were responsible for making decisions in mostly automotive industry, but as well as manufacturing, etc. The ministers were negotiating with them to actually our main goal was to try to convince them to come and open business in Macedonia or branch office or a manufacturing plant. Why? Because this was the main plan and goal of the economic government team. Why? Because back then we had a huge unemployment rate in Macedonia of 30%, 30.
Wow.
So very. We were still in the developing phase, and how you can actually within some years period of time lower that only by bringing foreign companies manufacturing plants and employing thousands of people. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I can proudly say that not that I used it, but I used maximum of it. Why? Because we were literally working 24/7, and that's how I started on the lowest position, and I was growing step by step. I was receiving promotions on time because the results were there. We had meetings. I was grateful and I was so thankful for this, and that's why I worked every hard, very very hard. And I believe I mentioned this to you previously when we had a coffee chat, virtual coffee. That just to have a clue. For example, it's Friday evening after working hours. I'm with my friends sitting in a restaurant, just enjoying music, live, of course, drinks, and then boom, message 10:30 p.m. The secretary, the personal assistant of the prime minister, were sending a message to all of the members of the economic team, whoever was available, because they are aware it's Friday, 10:30 p.m. And I was like immediately, guys, sorry, I need to go. Bye. And they were like, wow, Ivana, but come on. No, no, no. So I was grabbing each and every opportunity, each and every chance. So that's why I was recognized. Of course, I had results. I was showing up there. I was not afraid to speak up. 95% with males, but strong males. I was 23, 25. They were like 50, right? So I was never afraid. Of course, I had that somehow butterflies in my stomach, just like when you're falling in love. A fear. I was feeling that, of course, but I was never stepping back. Just in contrary, I was always like proactive. I was dedicated, and I love what I did that times. It was like living my dream. Yes, I was constantly and on. I was almost 30 years old when the prime minister itself, after this, I became head of the cabinet, so state council, head of the cabinet, and I had my team. It was somehow, I believe, almost 30 years old, and I was on a ski weekend with my friends. It was Sunday, and the prime minister himself called me on the phone. Ivana, good morning. And when he's calling and not texting, you know that, I mean, it's
You need to
absolutely, you
stop.
need to pick up. Yes. And I knew that. I had that feeling that it's quite an important call. So I pick up and he said, hi, Ivana, sorry for interrupting. I know it's Sunday. I apologize for that. Very humble person. Very. I have a suggestion for you, actually, a proposal. If you like to become a deputy CEO of the Agency for Foreign Direct Investments and Export Promotion of Republic of Macedonia. And I was like shaking, Eli, literally. I mean, you can imagine. Of course, I was ready and somehow expecting the new step to come forward, but I was like shaking up immediately, and I just responded, "Of course I am. When should I start? Monday on." So boom.
Wow.
Yes, yes, and that's how I continued. It was a bigger responsibility, much bigger. From my team of dozen of people, I had already 80 people, and most of them were economic promoters spread around the world in our embassies. So it was somehow a doubling of the responsibilities at that time. And managing such a huge amount of budget, you're growing quite fast, right? I mean, before I needed months or years. Now it was going quite fast. So, but I never somehow only focused on that. I always knew how to make or combine business with pleasure. Whenever I was traveling, I was meeting my local friends or having a coffee. That's why I mentioned to you, you're in Munich based, and whenever I'm there, business wise,
We
absolutely,
will
I'm gonna
meet.
find time to have a nice in person chat. It requires a huge energy and brain cells, of course, absolutely, nothing with that. But again, that's why I wanted to make a correlation act, because yes, at the end of the day, maybe you feel that draining energy, but it's constantly like a reverse cycle that
You recharge.
those, yes, in return, that I was always and constantly recharging from the successful, I would say, achievements that were happening along the way and the results. So yes, that's how
Oh,
actually it started. And after deputy CEO, I continued being becoming CEO and of the same agency. I already felt that okay, I need to step up and continue within private sector. But along the way, along these years of professional experience, I never stopped learning. So after I started working for the government at ICT university, state university in Macedonia, computer networks and technologies. So I was constantly in between finding time to study, not only to learn to listen podcasts or reading newspapers, books. That was inevitable to have it, newsletters, etc. from the industry. But I was officially all the time enrolled in such regular studies. So I finished the computer networks and technologies at ICT, Information and Communication Technology University in Macedonia with a 10 GPA. Of course, I had some doubts whether I will manage it, whether I will be successful, whether this will be a good fit for me. But how I started, I felt that
I
yeah,
can do it.
I felt that it's quite a good fit. You know, when I have that feeling, I'm that type of personality, really, where I'm either into something or not at all. So there is no in between. So it doesn't matter if I'm, I don't know, cleaning at home or you name it, doing some sports, either I want to win and want to win with prizes, or there is no mediocrity. Somehow having that um, perfectionist part of my personality or character sometimes is difficult, but many of the times leads me to where I am today. And then it was came the executive MBA. Got a scholarship in Greece. So again, I was traveling to also not only business wise, but for the having the lectures, and part of this executive MBA, I got another scholarship and I studied and lived a bit in Toronto, Canada, part of York University. Uh, Combined, I would say, collaboration. That was 2013. After I finished Faculty of Economics, 2007 until 2013, having this opportunity to be in Toronto, I came back, but I knew that I will continue with my international career absolutely somewhere in Western Europe.
What is the price to pay for so many years of success on the personal level?
Great question. Yes, I already touched base a bit, right? But as I said, I would say You need to absolutely make sacrifices. Otherwise, we all have 24 hours, right? And 7 days in a week. Since I was a very little kid, I was always saying, and not part of a professional career, I was always saying, mm, uh, I don't, I had somehow a fear of missing something. So I always wanted to be everywhere, to be present. I don't know, at lectures, sport events. I was a very curious, with a very curious nature kid. I wanted to read newspapers, to listen music, be on that event, be on that family gathering or friends gathering. And I was always, as I can recall, as I remember, saying that I'm gonna sleep in my next life. So yes, I'm quite a morning person. I sleep max 6 hours during
Oh,
the summer season, even 4 5. Yes, and not that I'm never setting an alarm. Okay, maybe if I need to catch a flight at 4 a.m., of course I will do, but just because of if it's happening. But then again, I'm waking up every time, even before the alarm. But on a regular basis, daily basis, I never set up alarm, and I have somehow an alarm within me, and waking up quite early. And I love that morning hours only for myself when the weather is good and nice to wake up with a morning sunny rays with the listening of the birds chirping. So I love that. But you need to make sacrifices, absolutely, because you cannot clone yourself, right? If you're somewhere, you cannot be elsewhere. Uh, with all those now virtual stuff, maybe we can clone ourselves tomorrow, but no, we can do that, but the energy cannot clone itself, right? And the energy is most important. But everything is possible. That is my drive always. If you want, if you really like and willing to do something, you absolutely can do it. You will find an excuse for not doing it, right? So I can recall that this was a saying from Walt Disney, something like that, that if you set up your mind to do something, if you really want to achieve something, you can achieve it. Especially nowadays with all those knowledge that we have on a on a hand in front of us. Not like in the past where we need to go to the library to get some professional book and to read through. So the information we have it, and that's the most, I would say, expensive and advantageous thing of the era we live in. So we need to take that advantage.
actually, I see a lot of intuition in you, Ivana. And I guess that this is what helps you to know where to focus. But what advice would you give to someone that, like, for this person, it's not so clear, like, where to focus?
Yes, because if you hear me, as you said, I don't have only one focus. That's why somehow I want to make a distinguishment or to distinguish the my 24 hours. So as I said, originally or normally 24 hours should be split in three parts, um, or so-called, maybe you've heard about it, so-called 8 plus 8 plus 8 rule. 8 hours of sleep, which in my case is less,
A
six
little bit
hours,
less.
5 6. So that's why I'm taking part of this. This is like 8 plus 8 plus 8, just to have three equal parts to create balance in your life. 8 hours hard work. So again, in my case, is around 10, I would say, normally. But again, it's not meaning that I need to sit behind a computer or a laptop to work. I work while I'm on vacation. I work while I'm on at the airport. So that is actually, I believe, the formula of my success, because otherwise it's absolutely impossible to do all those things within one day or one week. So on the rest of the 8 hours, so 8 hours hard work, 8 hours sleep, which in my case 10 plus 6, and 8 hours or of three F's, three H's, and three S's. Have you heard this rule,
No.
Ellie? Okay, yes. So the three F's are family, friends, and faith. The three H's are health, hygiene, and hobbies. And the three S are soul, service, and smile. Yes, when you're younger and you read such a books for empowerment, mental health, etc., somehow it looks like, oh, this is not possible to achieve it or to make such a balance. But when you really make part of your daily routine of your life, later on, maybe not after the first day, but later on, after some times, you will realize how powerful this is to start your day with a grateful mindset, with a grateful saying, thank you, God, with a prayer. Doesn't matter. I mean, whether someone is trusting in, whether we are right Catholics or whether we are Christians or whether we are Muslims, doesn't matter. Find something to believe in. Universe, some energy, you name it, you call it. But be grateful for what you have. Be grateful that you're alive, that you are healthy, that you are capable, and that you can really move with your own hands, with your own body, with your own brain. All people in the world have that opportunity. So we are lucky to be alive, to have the sunny weather, to have a family and friends. Yesterday morning, I had an overwhelmed keynote session, Ellie, for, believe it or not, a university in Philippines. Yes, State University, Visayas State University of Philippines, fourth year of students, ICT, AI. So they invited me. They found me on LinkedIn. I'm overwhelmed when I receive such a invitations, and especially when our younger generations. And I had a keynote session on explainable AI, XAI. You know that
That's
many
another.
times being part of in-person events and conferences, that yes, there are huge events, but I believe no more than, I don't know, 300, 400. But this time, and a lot of questions. It was so interactive. I was overwhelmed.
What advice would you give to these students when it comes to like climb the ladder? So what are the lessons learned that you take from your experience as a young leader?
Yeah, great question. I always, when I started my mentorship programs within Women in Tech, Germany, Women in Tech Macedonia, now Netherlands, Women in AI, and when I having my mentees and trying to give the best advice, as you've asked, I always say to stand up and speak up, to not be afraid, to take all the challenges as an opportunity, to see in every challenge an opportunity. Because again, I believe that is my driving force, because challenges are my fuels to success, are my accelerators of success, and I see them as an opportunity. Because with that, with those challenges, even some of them seems like very difficult to achieve, right? And of course, not all of them will be successful, but if not, you will learn and you will be a stronger and more experienced person. My sentence will be, step up and take the lead. Embrace the challenge with fearless perseverance, intelligence, and don't be afraid to take up on these opportunities to thrive as a females or young leaders in tech, in whatever industry you'll become part of or you're a part of.
Do you think that at some point you will retire? I have the feeling that you will be working your entire life.
Sorry, one more time.
Do you think that?
Retired? No,
Yeah.
no, no. Ili, as I said, I'm gonna sleep in another life. I'm gonna retire myself in another life. So absolutely not. You know why? Because even today, my weekends, I cannot imagine a day without working. Again, it's not that I need to open a laptop. Again, it's rarely when I have a day pass without opening my laptop, but nevertheless, either tablet or sending message through my phone or email uh, to any of the clients, or just preparing myself for a next session, for a next mentorship program. So I don't think so.
You
And
will always be busy.
yes, but I like keeping myself busy. And you know what? Tomorrow, when I have my family and kids, again, that will be work. Because I don't like when, again, maybe we can dive more into the stereotypes and biases for women and gender balance, because there is, again, something that it's on my heart, and I'm very standing up and really fighting fighting for this to become real, to have a worldwide gender balance, but not only on paper and by numbers, but to be realistic. So yes, I always say that doesn't matter that you need to somehow find your niche, or, as I said, find what drives you, because at the end of the day, our energy will be drained by doing something, right? But find something that will at the same time recharge your energy.
How do you think that leadership will evolve with the AI? I think it's a great topic.
I'm hearing more and more from the other leaders about this, especially those that are into this field of Gen AI. I'm not, again, I cannot proclaim myself as an engineer or a specialist, but with the learning today, right? We can always expand our knowledge and capacity and experience with that, right? So I'm really focused on what is happening with Gen AI, and with that, it's a great feeling for me to combine both worlds, because you know that I'm usually, or most of the time, providing my speeches within female leadership, leadership in general. So a combination of AI and leadership is quite an interesting topic to delve in. And the outcome of this, just to make it short, is that great leaders cannot be replaced by AI. Absolutely. And you can imagine why. Because we can train the models, the LLMs, the AI models, with specific queries, so-called, or the data that we're providing. And the input we provide as humans, the output will be result with the that machine learning in between. So and we can train them to be more empathetic, for example, chatbots or visual assistants, etc. But you can never have the that natural empathetic that you can get from a human being, right? And again, leaders, great leaders, can never be replaced by machines. So with that, the future of leadership will be enabled, not AI dominated. So we need to embrace the advantages that artificial intelligence and generative AI, or explainable AI. Yesterday, the lecture I was giving to the students, we should embrace all those means, and we should use them on a daily basis, because they absolutely will help us, or already helping us, to speed up to automate our manual processes. And I'm not saying only in the work environment, right, but as well as during our daily functioning at home, also traveling, etc. But and also to use them wisely or responsibly. That is quite also important, and it's another topic. I don't mean that ever leadership or great leaders can be replaced by AI.
Now you were talking about the future. What is your next step?
Hmm.
What do you have in mind?
First, the closest future or tomorrow, next month in November, I'm going to Canada again, and I'm so happy. And I got a new scholarship actually for strategic execution course of Kingston University. I'm very much looking forward to it because after 10 years, I will get back to Canada educational wise, and I'm happy for that. I see myself continue being part of IT, but I will not be modest with this. And again, Ellie, I never said this before officially or or publicly. I see myself becoming part of a global corporation and leading a global corporation. Whether it will be in a decade from now or later, somehow that is my strive. But to not forget the entrepreneurial part. Um, not I don't see myself fully focused in a or being part of entrepreneurial world, but I will somehow fulfill that strive or willingness of my nature to investing in some either startups. So that's how I believe balance my professional world. So yes, let's touch
So
base in
cool.
10 years again
We
for
will see.
your
You will make it. You will make it.
33 season of She Has a Voice and recap.
Exactly. Let's go for the final two questions. A woman who inspires you.
A lot, a lot. I will start with my mother. Absolutely. That's inevitable because whatever I am today, or the basic of my character, I'm absolutely thankful and grateful to my parents, both my mother and my father. So in different part of my life, they influenced quite a lot to what I am today, to shape up as a this type of personality and a strong character. I consider myself as a strong fearlessness who was quite early challenged with a lot of, as I mentioned, biases, but I never gave up. I always trust myself and my ability and capability to, with my brain cells, to that can learn, to learn, that can learn, that can step up and give the needed results. So absolutely my mother, but more globally, Mother Teresa. And why? Yes, why? Because from the professional world, of course, there are many, and Margaret Thatcher. You can name it from the history. From yes, a lot that shape up the future for the females, for the women, generally global wise. But why Mother Teresa? Because I had a chance to be part of their house or um, in India, in Calcutta or Calcutta. And because she was born in Skopje, Macedonia, and you maybe you can recall or you know, but for the rest that you know, a couple of years ago, she was proclaimed as a saint because of everything that she did within her life. She did many things, I would say enormous. She left this world with enormous achievements, and she absolutely paved the way for a lot of not only females inhabitants that needed help, but she did with a huge humbleness. So that's why I chose Mother Teresa. Again, from the professional world, there are many strong women. I read many personal books or biographies of such women that are shaping up the today's industry, and also from the history.
What advice would you give to the young Ivana or the Ivana as a child?
Oh yeah, I think I will not change much of what I've experienced or what I have as when I was a child, just maybe to somehow hurt her, or just give her additional wind in the back to say that yes, you have your
This is
intuition,
the way.
just trust it, and without any fear, just step up.
Ivana, it
Thank you,
has been a
Ellie.
pleasure. A
Likewise.
lot.
Always being pleasure speaking and interchanging ideas with you, Ellie.